Aye, said Alf. Pembridge could capsize a dinghy on dry land. Cyrus Pembridge, the Neverland's captain, was widely regarded as the most incompetent man to command a ship since the formation of water. Who, in the name of common sense, would put to sea on that ship would sorry who in the name of common sense would put to sea on that ship with that man in charge? Wondered Mac. Well, Alf answered, we are. True, Max said, but nobody else had hired the likes of us. They were along the Neverland now. The ship had been loaded and provisioned. The crew was prepared to cast off. Pardon me. Most of the passengers were on deck. Some were looking around anxiously at the decrepit ship and the scruffy crew in whose hands they were placing their lives. Others were leaning on the dockside rail, watching the cast-off preparations. Among these, Alf noticed, was a group of 5 boys near the bow. They looked plainly scared, except for one, a wiry boy with bright orange hair. Not the largest of the lot, but the one who seemed to be in charge. He had an air about him, Alf thought. The look of the boy who didn't miss much. It's about time, said Slank, tromping down the gangplank, trailed by 2 more seamen. You're late. Tide's begun to run. To the men behind him he said, get this cargo trunk aboard. As the men bent to heft the load, Alf, not thinking, not knowing why he did it, slipped his hand under the canvas flap, thrusting it forward until his fingers felt the smooth wood. Here now, said Slank, what the dickens are you doing? Alf, said Mac, what are you doing? But Alf didn't hear him. Instantly he was lost in it all again. The warmth and the smells, the music and the floating. It was so good, especially the sweet song. There was something else in there too, something the bells were trying to say to him. What was it? Hands off that cargo! Slank yelled. Alf felt himself yanked away from the trunk, and then the music was gone, and all the other feelings with it. Alf was wobbly, but with Mac's help, he managed to keep his feet. Alf watched 2 men carry the trunk onto the ship, and he felt a sadness come over him, because he knew he might not hear the music again. He almost wept, except that a man like Alf didn't cry. Then, he didn't know why, Alf looked towards the bow, and found himself looking right into the starling blue eyes of the orange-haired boy. Come on, Alf, said Mac, gently tugging on Alf's coat, concerned about his old friend's strange behavior. But for a moment, Alf held still, his gaze still locked with that of the orange boy. Come on, repeated Mac. We're casting off. Alf turned and followed his friend toward the lines that held the ship to the wharf. After a few steps, he looked back, but the boy was gone. Boys get into all sorts of trouble, he thought, his ears still ringing from the music of those bells.